Academia outed themselves. Academics discuss how pro-migrant, anti-capitalist activism is accomplished through research, which they forgot to put in quotes, by the way. The University of Arizona recently hosted a seminar in which scholars and grad students discussed how pro-migrant and anti-capitalist outcomes can be achieved through research projects, in particular amid the pandemic. This should be very concerning if you take things like the scientific method and peer review seriously. Imagine if all the peers are on the same side and they're just pushing their agenda using these allegedly scientific publications. Faith in the entire process should be zero right now. The strategy is called solidarity as method, which essentially refers to advancing the interests of marginalized groups. Just wait till they turn on each other. During the seminar, scholars played with reimagining research as a domain that proactively supports liberatory processes and outcomes. According to its online description, which added the event took into account challenges the pandemic had presented for fieldwork. Research as a domain that proactively supports liberatory processes and outcomes. That's the important one, outcomes. These guys are doing everything you're supposed to avoid doing if you want to do real science. Like, real science is, oh, let's test this theory and see what happens. What these guys are doing is, here's the outcome we want. What sort of study can we do to prove this outcome? Or no, to lead to, they're trying to reverse cause and effect, basically. Like, this is the result we want. How do we get to this result? This is not science. I will never trust anything that calls itself science that operates in this manner. If you already have a preconceived notion, a result in mind, and you're only doing the science so you can reach that result, you have already failed and you have lost all my trust. The University's Center for Middle Eastern Studies advised the event as part of its fall current year Middle Eastern and North African Studies colloquium series. The college fix was denied entrance to the online event, Solidarity as a Method, a collaboratory workshop, which was hosted by the public university in mid-September. Well, hopefully you guys were able to get in anonymously, like Project Veritas does that. The stated goal of supporting liberatory processes and outcomes basically means redirecting research methods and resources away from determining objective truths and instead towards elevating the interests of marginalized groups. They're no longer doing, like, they've thrown the scientific method like to the curb. Like, it's over. This is a religion at this point. Remember when the left was accusing Christians of doing this? Yeah, remember when Christians kept coming up with theories like intelligent design, for example, and the left were accusing them of, you already have the conclusion that God is real and your holy book is real, and you're literally just trying to find studies or manufacture them to arrive at the conclusion that you're already at. Now they're doing the same thing. They're a fucking cult. They're already told the result they're supposed to get. And I mean, these scientists, or quote unquote scientists, I guess scientists would be the best way to put them. They're hired by the government quite often, and they'll never be hired again unless they give the government the result they want. So they're basically told the results the government expects, and they rig their research to make sure that that's the result they get. Because there's still a few scientists that actually have some honor and pride that do it the real way, but they end up not getting work anymore. The seminar's online description states that through a series of group activities and exercises, as well as drawing from examples of pro-migrant, anti-capitalist, anti-oppressive solidarity activism, we will play with the reimagining research as a domain that proactively supports liberatory processes and outcomes. Yeah, you said that like 3 times already. We know. We will also discuss the possibilities and challenges of solidarity as a method in terms of it being both a research or ethnographic object and as a methodological framework in centering decolonial, feminazi, and racist approaches to knowledge production. Once again, failing science, just missing the whole point of science. They look at everything through their respective lenses. Their racist lens, their sexist lens. Those lenses automatically cloud your vision of the whole. In other words, objective truth is secondary to promoting the regressive interests of marginalized categories under the guise of research. 100% true. The workshop is led by Professor Megan Carney, a very appropriate name for this individual, a sociocultural and critical medical anthropologist, according to her faculty bio. Sounds like bloat to me. Carney described the workshop in a statement to the College Fix. It allowed some faculty and students to talk openly about experiences in fieldwork and learn from one another, she said via email. In particular, attendees talked about the challenges of doing fieldwork during the pandemic. The Center for Middle Eastern Studies was glad to provide the useful opportunity for our colleagues and students, making it sound like this was actually useful because, that actually sounds like it could have some use. Could have been a Zoom call, though. Carney is the faculty affiliate for the Center of Middle Eastern Studies in addition to 2 other departments at the University of Arizona. Carney draws from transnational feminazi and decolonial epistemologies for designing reflexive and participatory research methodologies, her bio states. That's how you can spot bloat right there. That's how you can spot con artists. If they take like 30 words to say nothing, there's no benefits to interacting with this person. Just go away. Oh man, how do I put this? They have a fatal flaw in their quote unquote logic. What they're doing is they're just throwing out the biggest words they can. Like every time they type something, they open up a thesaurus and they find the most obscure word possible to use in any situation. And they do this as a way to talk down to their audience. Hey, I know all these big words and you don't. Doesn't that make you feel stupid? Well, you should listen to me because I'm smart. Meanwhile, every person who actually knows how you talk to an audience, they will tell you that you tailor your speech to the audience you're talking to. So if you're talking to a group of people that don't know these words, you're not supposed to use them because that just turns them off. And I'm not even just talking about like this academic bullshit. I'm talking about like say professional jargon, right? If you are in the military, let's use that as the best example. In the military, you got some fucking 10-letter abbreviation for every possible thing you can think of. It's like, oh, I was filling out my XYZ W7 form, and then the PYX came up and said this to me. No normie is going to be able to follow that conversation. If you know you're talking to someone who doesn't know your professional jargon, you're supposed to not use it, or if you do use it, you're supposed to explain what it is. Like, oh yeah, I was going to the PX, but that's basically like our version of Walmart. It's the post exchange. Like you're supposed to do something like that, right? But these guys, no, they're doing the opposite. They're going out of their way to make sure they use words and terms you don't understand so they can show how much smarter than you they are. And then they act surprised when you just tune out. God damn. Okay, that's enough about that, though. I could go on like an hour-long rant on that shit. Pam Scott, the University of Arizona spokesperson, told the College Fix in an emailed statement that the workshop was based on a decade of research with migrant-receiving communities in Sicily. In that research, solidarity as a method refers to situations in which local people and people of the migrant backgrounds work together to address shared challenges. Given everything you've just said, I'm inclined to believe that even that research was already tainted. If you go into it with the result already solidified and you're just trying to confirm that result. Now, if you're trying to test something, that's a different story. If you have a guess, I expect this, and then it doesn't happen, you're supposed to let it go and figure out why. The workshop enrolled graduate students and a few faculty to address how field-based researchers can study such collaborations, especially in a pandemic when normal procedures for intensive on-site fieldwork are no longer possible, and when new procedures for data collection and analysis need to be developed. The description stated, the Corona-Chan pandemic and the public health emergency of structural racism have forced a long overdue reckoning for many in academia with respect to the structures of power and oppression that shape research while also posing practical challenges for carrying out the research physically in the field. Translation, if you want to do real science, you're going to go to a country like China. And in a few years, China is going to pass us up. Like, the only reason the US is still a superpower is because they still have their leftover military and economic and scientific might from when they weren't cucked. But there's only so long that's going to last. Like, if you keep pushing aside your best and brightest to make room for diversity hires, you're basically signing your own death warrant, man. Individuals who signed up for the workshop received an email with instructions for an assignment to prepare examples of challenges they faced in the field as anthropologists. Workshop participants are asked to please bring some source of data from their research to share and be prepared to briefly speak about it. Examples include, but are not limited to, a photograph, historical or archival documents, a portion of a transcript from interviews, etc., field notes, or a short story about the challenging or impressionable research experience. The Couch Fix was denied access to the event. Well, you should have snuck someone in Project Veritas style and leaked it out. That's what should have happened. Yeah, the Carney, that would have been perfect, said in an email to the Fix that participants will be sharing part of their research as part of a collaborative workshop that will not be recorded. They need to feel comfortable to do so, and we would not be able to get everyone's permission to allow you to sit in. That's how you know that they're doing something suspicious. Oh shit, we can't let what's going on in here get out into the real world. Uh-oh, what are they trying to hide? Let me guess. It's another one of those moments like, oh, we don't teach critical race theory in our schools. Well, can you define critical race theory? No, we don't teach it here. Like, well, we just need to make sure you didn't just rename it and are teaching it. How do you define it? They always dodge the question. And then they wonder why no one trusts them.